The Ship of Fools, Episode 12, The Christmas Spirit, The Long Dark. The battlecruiser had been drifting through the void for so long that even Aurora's voice had begun to sound tired. The region of space they'd entered was a dead zone. No stars, no planets, not even the faint whisper of cosmic dust. It was as though the universe had carved out a pocket of pure nothingness and left them stranded inside it. The crew felt it. Isolation seeped into their bones. Moxie spent hours staring out the viewport, watching the same patch of blackness as though expecting it to blink. Snipes had begun naming the ship's maintenance bots and assigning them personalities. Banning found himself wandering the corridors at odd hours, unsure whether he was looking for something or running from something. Even the hum of the engines felt quieter. The PP-608 was a ship built for chaos, noise, and constant disaster. Silence was unnatural. Silence was dangerous. And then, one night, if night meant anything in a place without stars, the silence broke. A soft chime echoed through the ship. Not an alarm, not a malfunction. Something musical, something warm. Banning sat up in his bunk, heart pounding. The lights flickered, and the ship was no longer alone. The visitor. The object appeared on sensors first, a small vessel drifting toward them with no propulsion, no heat signature, no logical explanation. It glowed faintly, like a lantern floating through a dark forest. Aurora scanned it repeatedly, her voice growing more confused each time. "Commander, this ship is emitting frequencies consistent with jingle bells." Banning blinked. Jingle bells? And peppermint. Before he could respond, the bridge lights dimmed, then brightened, then dimmed again. A warm breeze, impossible in a sealed spacecraft, brushed past him, and then a figure stood in the center of the bridge. He hadn't walked in. He hadn't teleported in. He was simply there, as though the universe had edited him into the scene. Tall, cloaked in shimmering red and gold, a beard like drifting nebulae, eyes that sparkled with ancient mischief and deep sadness. His presence filled the room with warmth that felt like stepping into a forgotten childhood memory. "Greetings, travelers," he said, voice deep and gentle. "I am the Christmas Spirit." Snipes dropped his wrench. Moxie gasped. Banning wondered if he had finally snapped. "The Christmas Spirit," Banning repeated. The figure nodded. "Indeed, though Earth has not needed me for quite some time." The story of a lost holiday. They gathered in the galley, drawn to the stranger like moths to a hearth. The lights glowed warmer. The air smelled faintly of pine and something sweet, like something youthful. The spirit sat at the table, hands folded, expression wistful. "Long ago," he began, "I walked among the people of Earth. I whispered joy into their hearts. I nudged generosity into their hands. I tended the flame of wonder." His eyes dimmed. But as centuries passed, the holiday grew. Louder, brighter, more commercial, less magical. Humanity celebrated without me. They no longer needed the spirit, only the spectacle. He sighed, and the sound carried the weight of centuries. "So I left. I wandered the stars seeking those who still needed warmth, those who still felt the cold." He looked at each of them in turn. "And I found you." Moxie swallowed. "We're not cold." The spirit smiled gently. "My dear, you are freezing." The ship transforms. The spirit rose and touched the nearest bulkhead. Light rippled outward like frost forming on glass. The sterile metal softened into warm hues. Garlands of shimmering starlight appeared along the ceiling. Snowflakes drifted from nowhere, dissolving before they touched the floor. Snipes spun in place, laughing. "He's decorating the ship." Moxie caught a snowflake on her tongue. "This is impossible." Aurora's hologram flickered beside them, now adorned with a faint wreath. "Commander, I am experiencing cheer. I do not know how to process this. The spirit moved through the ship like a warm breeze, leaving festivity in his wake. The engine room glowed with twinkling lights. The corridors shimmered with ornaments woven from cosmic dust. The galley filled with the aroma of gingerbread and cocoa. The crew, starved for joy, drank it in like oxygen. They sang, they laughed, they told stories. They forgot the crushing emptiness outside. And Banning, despite himself, felt something he hadn't felt in months. Lightness. A night of miracles. The spirit conjured a feast, not with technology, but with a wave of his hand. Platters of roasted vegetables, steaming breads, glowing fruits from worlds they'd never visited. A fire crackled in a hearth that hadn't existed an hour earlier. They gathered around the table, eating and talking like a family instead of a crew held together by duct tape and trauma. Snipes asked the spirit endless questions about Earth's past holidays. Moxie asked about alien celebrations across the galaxy. Even Aurora joined in, projecting a holographic cup of cocoa she pretended to sip. Banning watched it all with a strange ache in his chest. He hadn't realized how lonely he'd been. At one point, the spirit leaned toward him. "You carry a heavy burden, Commander." Banning shrugged. "Comes with the job." "Leadership is not the burden," the spirit said softly. "Isolation is." Banning looked away. "We're fine." "You are adrift," the spirit replied. "Not just in space." The doubt. Later, when the others slept, or pretended to, Banning found Aurora waiting for him on the bridge. "Commander," she said quietly, "I have analyzed the spirit's presence. It does not match any known species, technology, or phenomenon." "That's not surprising," Banning said. "He's... well, the Christmas spirit." Aurora's hologram flickered. "Commander, prolonged isolation can induce shared hallucinations, collective visions, emotional projections. You think we imagined him?" "I am considering all possibilities." Banning looked out at the void, where the spirit's glowing vessel drifted like a candle in the dark. "Does that look like a hallucination to you?" he asked. Aurora paused. "Commander, I do not know." The spirit's warning. The next day, the spirit gathered them in the galley. His glow seemed dimmer, his smile softer. "You must remember," he said, "that joy is not a gift I give. It is a flame you carry. I can only remind you it exists." Moxie frowned. "Are you leaving?" "All things wander," the spirit said. "Even spirits." Snipes looked devastated. "But we needed this." "And you will continue to need it," the spirit replied. "But not from me." He placed a hand on Banning's shoulder. "Commander, your crew looks to you for warmth, for guidance, for light. Do not let the cold of space dim what burns within you." Banning swallowed hard. "I'll try." "That is all anyone can do." The vanishing. The next morning, the decorations were gone. The warmth was gone. The scent of pine and cocoa was gone. The spirit was gone. The ship looked exactly as it had before. Sterile, metallic, cold. Snipes searched every corridor. Moxie checked the sensors. Aurora scanned the ship 3 times. There was no trace he had ever been there. No energy signature, no anomalous readings, no decorations, no snowflakes. Nothing. Banning stood in the galley, staring at the empty table, wondering if the warmth he remembered had been real or just a dream born from loneliness. Then he saw it. A small wooden carving sat on the table, a tiny model of the PP-608, perfectly detailed with a little wreath etched around the bridge. Snipes hadn't carved it. Moxie hadn't carved it. Aurora hadn't fabricated it. Banning picked it up, feeling the smooth wood beneath his fingers. He smiled. "Real enough," he whispered. Outside, the void remained silent, but inside the ship, something warm lingered. Something like promise. End of episode 12. To be continued.